Jackson Jobe makes his major league debut as the Detroit Tigers' magic number is now 3. Let's talk about that and more all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Thursday, September 26th, 2024. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen. Every single day, we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals. Book today on Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Get the Booking.com app today. The Detroit Tigers dominate the Tampa Bay Rays. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Thursday to all. The Detroit Tigers' magic number is now just 3 games. There is 4 games left in the season, and their magic number is 3. So, no matter what happens with the Twins, the Royals, the Mariners, they could all win out. If the Tigers win 3 of their next 4, they are playing in the postseason for the first time in a decade. They control their own destiny. There's nothing else you need to worry about. All the other teams that are in that race won tonight on Wednesday night. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just keep winning, baby. Just keep winning. Now, I can't believe I'm saying this. The White Sox are pulling off some gritty wins here to prevent becoming the worst team in the modern era of baseball. So we'll see what they're looking at. It looks like Grady Sizemore is going to move around the pitching matchup so that Crochet is pitching against the Tigers now. There's a lot going on there. We'll talk about that when we get there, okay? Wednesday night was absolutely electric. That was one of the coolest environments, and I was at the game. I had the pleasure of being at the game. Took three of my closest friends, and we all went to the game, watched Jackson Jobe's debut, watched the Tigers win another ball game, and to get one step closer to fall baseball, and it was absolutely magical. It was incredible, and it was 30,000+ people with a week left in the season. That hasn't happened in a very long time because they're playing the most meaningful baseball that this organization has seen this late into the season in the better part of a decade. This was legitimately one of the coolest nights at Comerica outside of Miguel Cabrera retirement tour based stuff in a very, very long time, man. Like I'm going to get emotional. Like that's how much the game of baseball and the Detroit Tigers mean to me, but also how much the city of Detroit means to me and just this fan base. Everything about it was just so awesome. This was an incredible atmosphere, an incredible baseball game by an incredible team, an incredible win. I love Detroit so much. Golly, I love living here. I love it. And I absolutely love the Detroit Tigers. And chances are pretty good if you're tuning in that you feel the same way. So thank you for tuning in. 7-1 victory. The Tigers are now 84-74. They stay 8-2 in the team's last 10 games. And like I said, the magic number is now just 3 ball games. What went right in this big victory against the Rays? How can you not start off with Parker Meadows? How can you not? 3 for 5, including a leadoff homer. So I was sitting first base side. And so his back is to us, right? And we're watching, and people are still getting to their seats, right? This is bottom of 1 leadoff hitter, and he yanks it and knows it off the bat, right? And just watching him in person jog faster than I could run so effortlessly was honestly made me rethink my choices at 26 years old, knowing that's probably reality. But he is he is Superman. I know I say it all the time, and it's broken record and whatnot, but he is Superman. He is truly unbelievable. Incredible defender, stolen base threat, draws a lot of walks, and has 20 plus home run major league power. That is a Superman. And the question I ask to the group here, right, is and we'll have this conversation again in the winter and in the off season, which hopefully is not anytime soon, and we keep playing ball. But what is his ceiling over 162? Legitimately, I want to know what people think. What is an elite defensive center fielder that has pop and draws walks and steals bases? What is his ceiling over a full season? Is it 5 WAR? Is it higher? Like, are we talking about a guy? I'm not trying to get ahead of myself. I promise. I assure you, I do everything in my power not to get ahead of myself with some of these questions and whatnot. But it's a question. It's not a statement. It's not this guy. I'm not saying this dude's going to put up a 9-win season next year. But like when you start talking about like, oh, like this dude could legitimately be a 4.5 or 5-win player over 140 or 150, like that is a really good baseball player. And I think since he's come back from injury and been recalled, you have seen that. His season stats, he's going to end the year as an above league average hitter in the eyes of OPS. He was hitting 090, dog, in May with like an OPS of like 390 or 400. And he's been that good where he's going to end the season with an OPS in the mid 700s. He's unreal. He can affect the game in so many different ways. He is the perfect leadoff hitter. I love this man, genuinely. I am in love with him. He is Superman, and seeing him turn and burn on that ball in person was pretty darn cool. Not gonna lie to you. Wenceel Perez, I thought, was also fantastic in this ball game. Got on base twice. A lot of really good ABs. We talk a lot about his production as well, and just at his best, he's probably like a slightly above average hitter in terms of like OPS, right? Like 740 to 760 OPS kind of guy, 100 WRC plus, whatever stat you want to use, what he's hitting 240, right? Like at his best, he's probably like a 250, 255 hitter. Like we're not talking about a guy with a super high ceiling, but I'll be darned if every AB that he's a part of isn't just a grinded out at bat. And he's going to swing and he's going to put the bat on the ball, but he's also not going to expand the zone an awful lot. And I think that's just a professional hitter, and a great point that has been brought up by a lot of people. But specifically, I know that Gorosh and Evan Petzold over at Days of Roar have talked about it a lot. Like AJ Hinch really likes Wenceel Perez, and there's a reason for that. And I think that games like this is where you really see why, right? He hit 5th and got on base twice, and nobody is talking about his performance, but he had a walk and a hit in this ball game in 3 at bats, 4 plate appearances. Just a really gritty ball player that I absolutely adore, and I think that's the kind of player that Detroit really rallies around. You think of like the Ben Wallaces and Dennis Rodmans, and those guys were like elite at defense and were Hall of Famers and deserve to be Hall of Famers, right? I'm not saying that Perez necessarily that, but just those kind of grinded out, right? Like the grind line back in the day for the Wings, like those kind of players people just really, really appreciate. And I think that Perez kind of epitomizes that. That's kind of the type of player that I view him as. We also had a big time home run in this ball game, a big time home run. Let's talk about that right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports because unlike other apps, on Prize Picks is just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and you watch the winnings roll in. One Caleb Williams passing yard can get you one win on Prize Picks every week in September. Newsflash, that means you got one football weekend left of this amazing offer. Okay, one Caleb Williams passing yard, one win on your Prize Picks entry. You can now also win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. And the offers just keep on rolling in. You can download Prize Picks today and use code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, as always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We will, of course, be back tomorrow recapping the series finale against the Rays, also previewing the final weekend series, the final series period of the 2024 regular season in hopes to get to the playoffs yet again. Also, be sure to check out Jake Rietma over at Locked On Tigers Postcast. Does a fantastic job with kind of immediate post-game reactions, whereas for me, you got to wait till the next day. Actually, this won't even be up by midnight, I'm realizing. I went to the game, took a while, whatever, got home and whatnot. And so this is going to be past midnight. So I apologize to all of our midnight faithful that I appreciate so much. Y'all are the best. That's my crew right there. But let's talk offense, and let's talk big home runs in this ball game. Spencer Torkelson got a hold of a baseball. So again, we were sitting first base side, and my buddy turned to me after Torque had already crossed home plate, and he looked at me and he went, "I think you were the first person to stand up when he made contact with that ball." It was a rocket. Like I cannot express. So we were exactly in line with the ball's trajectory, right? First base, looking towards left field. That's exactly where the ball was. And it was annihilated. That was, I think they showed the metrics on the great new huge scoreboard over there. I say new, it's been there all season, but if you haven't been to a game or whatnot, maybe it's new to you. They showed the metrics there. 415, I think it was like 108 or something crazy off the bat. He crushed that baseball. Hanging slider, worked the count in that at bat as well, which is great to see. Just a really, really nice, It kind of reminds me of like Kevin Malone in The Office, where it's just like we talk about Torkelson so much, and it's not. It's not even the fact that I don't just bring him up every single day on this show and just like crap all over him, right? Like there are good days and there are bad days, and it's just like he is so. I feel bad for him, like genuinely, like he is so under the microscope of this fan base at all times that it's got to feel great for him, like legitimately, like on a human level. This is a huge baseball game for the Tigers. And he came through with probably the biggest at-bat of the game to put this game truly out of reach and kind of ease everybody. And like the Rays weren't going to come back after the homer. It really was kind of the silencer. And for him to just have a really good day at the plate and have that moment and have that at home in front of the biggest crowd, we've seen in a while in Comerica, just is awesome. So I really am happy for him. 2 for 4 on the day, hanging slider, takes it to pound. 2-strike count hanging slider, right? Didn't, I'm just going to like really choke up here, and just like was confident and able in his approach, and absolutely annihilated a baseball. It was really, really nice to see. Dylan Dingler, 2 for 4 with a ribby. Great to see the turnaround here offensively over the last week or so, maybe 2 weeks. Just really nice to see. He's a guy that, my Chris Collinsworth there. Here's a guy. He's a guy that just was struggling so much offensively, but I was really impressed with defensively. And so I've brought it up a few times here, but I think it's worth reminding people, like he has done this at a lot of levels. And that's something that Chris Brown and Raj over at Motor City Metrics and Tigers Minor League Report, etc., have done a great job of covering too, is like, this is a dude who really at every promotion, he has kind of done this. He's been promoted, and then the first 100, 150 plate appearances, he's kind of struggled, and then he's kind of turned it around and whatnot. So if he can turn it around now in time for the last 4+ games, we'll say, that would be wonderful. And that would, I think, really go a long way to also just from an offseason perspective, right? Giving people a little bit more confidence in the catching tandem going into 2024. Riley Green with a fantastic day at the office as well, 2 for 4 with an RBI. His swing is so beautiful. That bat path is textbook, man. That is he has figured it out, and I can't wait. I can't wait to watch him play in how do I word this? In more meaningful baseball games. We'll put it that way. I can't wait. 7 runs, really good day. Some clutch hitting. The Tigers go 3 for 8 with RISP. That's not a bad day, right? Especially if you average that out over 162. That's really not bad at all. Had a couple of 2-out knocks as well. You had power. You had clutch hitting. You had a leadoff homer. You had everything. The Tigers really took it to the Rays offensively. I thought this was one of the better offensive games they have had in a little bit. I'm pretty confident in saying that. Like they've won a lot of games, low scoring, really good pitching. This was one where the offense really did some heavy lifting. That being said, the bullpen was absolutely incredible. In watching the bullpen and watching the management of the bullpen unfold in front of my eyes almost made me tear up. Sean Gunther comes out right after Montero. 2 innings of perfect ball with 3 Ks. His ERA is now 0.9. Hannafy, 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 walk, no runs, no strikeouts. His ERA is now 1.98. Tyler Holton, 1 1/3, goes over an inning of perfect ball, 1 strikeout. His ERA is now 2.22 on the season. Will Vest, 1 inning, 1 hit, no runs, 1 strikeout. His ERA is now 2.88. The highest ERA I just read you was 2.88. The lowest was sub 1. Now, obviously, there's some sample size stuff in there, but it cannot be understated. I got it right that time, I think. Someone will tell me. I cannot say enough about how good this bullpen continues to be and how AJ Hinch just continues to pull all this right strings. It is magnificent to watch. So yes, the offense showed up. Yes, everybody's going to talk about, as they should, Torkelson and Parker Meadows and Perez and Riley Green and almost everybody getting a hit in this ball game. Everybody should talk about how great the offense looked. Absolutely. But the bullpen continues to be the unsung hero of this baseball team. And I genuinely believe the biggest reason as to why we're here. So tip of the cap to them yet again. Let's talk about what went wrong. I really only have one player, and it's Keider Montero. And honestly, I peek behind the curtain. I'm really only even putting him here for the sake of having a what went wrong segment. I don't think this was beautiful. This was such a fun night of baseball. Like I don't have a laundry list of like nitpicky stuff that I think went wrong. Like, yeah, Montero went 2 2/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Obviously, the 1 earned run was the solo homer he gave up. That was the only run the Rays scored all game. And the reason why I still felt comfortable putting him in the category of what went wrong is because the command was wrong. The command was brutal. He was way off from jump, too. And I'm wondering, and I'll have to check the post-game presser to see if AJ was asked about it, if it was premeditated that he wasn't going to go very long, or if it was because of the stuff that he was offering. I think that's a really interesting question because, like I said, he only goes 2 2/3, and he threw how many pitches? I'm trying to find his pitch count here. Sorry about this. Bad radio. 55 pitches. It's not even close to, this dude threw a complete game shutout a few weeks ago, right? A week and a half ago. So I think that it's interesting to know if AJ is just like, you know what, I'm treating these like playoff games, right? I think that he might be. I really think he might be. And he's just like, you know what, short leash on all starters. I'm treating this like a playoff game. And that's what happened. Or if it's, you know what, this dude's command is not here and we need to pull him. Or again, if it was even premeditated. And I think that that's kind of the interesting question I have is like, is he just going to go, we've only used one reliever in the last 2 days. We talked about that on yesterday's show, off day Monday, and only used one reliever on Tuesday. You can afford to kind of empty the chamber a little bit on Wednesday night. And that is what they did, and it worked wonderfully. I cannot give enough credit to AJ Hinch here. Again, pulled the plug on Montero, stopped the bleeding there. It looked like it might have gotten out of hand a little bit. Pulled all the right strings, and the Rays did not score a single run the rest of the game. They barely had any base runners the rest of the game. After Montero was pulled, the Rays had 3 hits and 2 walks, I guess. No runs. Absolutely magnificent managing yet again as he continues to make his case for manager of the year. I don't think he'll get it. I think a team in Cleveland will probably take home that honor. However, I think AJ deserves heavy consideration, and no matter what Cleveland says, the Cy Young resides in Detroit. Let's talk stuff. Something we have not brought up that is very clearly the elephant in the room outside of just the great win was the debut of the number 1 pitching prospect in baseball. We will talk about that and more right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at Booking.com, Booking.yeah. Explore those U.S. cities that you've always secretly wanted to learn more about, right? Other baseball cities, other rival cities. Speaking of Cleveland, right? We don't like the Cleveland baseball team very much. They've helped us out a lot, actually, in this run. That's an interdivision rival. There's very few things I love more than going to Cleveland and catching a ball game, man. Right? It is such a fun place such a fun part of town, such a cool atmosphere, great park. I go to Cleveland and catch a game pretty much every year, and Booking.com helps me accomplish that. Hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com. You might just find the perfect stay even in your rival's city. Booking.com delivers exactly the right U.S. stay for you and can help you book a stay that's close to your home teams or even your rival's stadium as well. Awesome hotels that overlook stadiums, overlook waterfront, you name it. No matter what the city and no matter what the team you are rooting for in the postseason, Booking.com can make you a fan of any U.S. city. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rivals. Booking.com, Booking.yeah. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, as always. Let's talk stuff. So, again, I was at this game. The atmosphere was absolutely incredible. I think that's the biggest point I want to drive home. There were 32,463 paid attendance. Paid. I said that. That was very poor English. The paid attendance was 32,463. That's according to Tony Paul of the Detroit News. Fantastic journalist, as always. And he also reported that is the best midweek September crowd since September 21st of 2015. The Tigers were in a playoff hunt in 2016. and this was still the best. A lot of caveats there, but it's still meaningful. 32,000 on a Thursday with a week left in September against a non-playoff team. You know, in 2019, you're talking about 10 or 15,000 showing up, right? And we're talking about pictures going viral of empty seats. Not this year, man. We got some meaningful ball to play, and that's beautiful. Let's talk about the man of the hour. Too sweet to be sour. Okay, Jackson Jobe, major league debut. So I was actually bought the tickets to go to this ball game before Jackson Jobe was announced as probably, quote unquote, making his debut. I cannot tell you the amount of confidence that he must instill, or that he must already have instilled in this coaching staff to get the 9th inning. I don't care that it was a 6-run ball game, right? The fact that they gave this dude in the heart of the most important Tigers baseball that has been being played in a decade almost, the 9th inning in his major league debut is telling. I promise you. I know the scoreboard was crooked and 6 runs is 6 runs. I get it. That still means something, man. They were like, you know what, 9th inning, go have fun, brother. It was awesome. So let's talk about him on the mound first. 1 inning, 1 hit, no earned runs, no walks, no strikeouts. The fastball was upper 90s. Did not look like he did in spring training, but I think that was very intentional, right? spring training, he legitimately was throwing as hard as he could. And that's why you saw the 102. He's trying to pitch, not just throw, not just hurl, right? That's something that Verlander had to overcome when he first came to the majors was he could throw 100 in the 7th inning, had to learn how to develop his other pitches so that he could become a all-around, well-rounded pitcher. And I think that it's great that he's not letting the moment get too big and just like, you know what, I just want to throw 102 just to show the crowd that I can throw 102. He was still pumping 98, 99, right? No issue because he's unbelievably talented. But I'll tell you what, and a lot of people in the organization have covered this, and a lot of writers have talked about this as well. This is not my brainchild, this thought, but his cutter is jaw dropping. Like again, I was in row 31 on the first base side. Like I wasn't right there, but you could see pitch movement. You could tell his cutter was his cutter from I think miles away. That was how wild it is to see cutter and then see like 94 miles an hour on the radar gun. Like I know Class A exists, and like that kind of ruins is not the right word because it's an incredible feat. But it kind of makes it so that like when you see a 94 mile an hour cutter, you're like, oh yeah, like that's pretty good. No, that's unreal. Class A is just a generational talent out of the bullpen, right? Like being a starting pitcher that can throw low 90s, up to mid 90s with a cutter, and then pair it with an almost 100 mile an hour fastball, and then pair all of that with an 88, 89 mile an hour slider. And then pair all of that with an 85 to 88 mile an hour changeup. I don't know how anyone makes contact with anything he throws ever. Electric stuff. And I think the coolest part of the entire night was just the crowd was into it. Like this is such a knowledgeable and awesome and passionate fan base. And it's just so beautiful to just see all 32,000 people were up and were lit when he was entering the ball game. Man, I tweeted a video, posted whatever, a video of him coming out of the bullpen for the first time and running to the mound, and the PA announcer, Jackson, Jobe, and the crowd freaking out. Like there's people jumping around and screaming, and there's like the crowd was some of the loudest it got the entire game. It was the Parker Meadows homer, the Torkelson homer was probably that, and then the Jackson Jobe debut might have been the loudest the crowd got, man. It was electric. We were all chanting, "We want Jobe" in the 8th inning before he came in. Like it was so spectacular, and it just adds to this magical run. I how can you not be romantic about baseball? Want to give props to Jason Benetti, aside from just being a national treasure and one of the more talented, one of the most just straight up talented play-by-play announcers in sports, not just the game of baseball. Two things. One, I saw after I got home making the rounds on social media, Carlos Pena, Kirk Gibson, and Jason Benetti's reaction to the Torkelson homer. How awesome is that? That is two guys that have played for the Detroit Tigers and have given a lot of years and hard work into this organization, paired with again, one of the best announcers that sports has to offer, that has just been completely taken in with open arms by this city. And he has admitted, has fallen in love with this city. Those are three guys that are fans of the Detroit Tigers. This is not just, we're doing our job and we're just broadcasting and that's that. These are fans. They freaked out like we did, pumping their fist, high fives, talking about, how the ball was sent to the moon. Like these are people that legitimately care about the Detroit Tigers, and that's who you want there, man. And I just the one of the coolest things of the last week. I feel like everything I say is just this is the coolest thing I've seen. So I'm sorry for not having better transitions there. I need to work on that clearly. But Jason Benetti is no longer broadcasting Fox's Saturday football game. Big Noon Saturday. Jason Benetti gets every single Fox game of the week on Saturday for college football. Every year. Every week. He's not going this Saturday. You know why? because he chose, it was his decision. It's not written in a contract. It's not because, I have to obligate. He chose to stay in Detroit and broadcast the final series of the weekend because he wants to be in the booth when the Detroit Tigers clinch a postseason berth. That's awesome. The Mariners, the Twins, and the Royals all won. Who effing cares, man? I don't. They control their own destiny, the Detroit Tigers do. You don't need anyone else to do anything for you anymore. Just keep winning. They're tied with Kansas City for the second wild card. I guess if you really want the second wild card, it would be nice for Kansas City to drop a game here down the stretch. But you have a 2-game cushion on the Twins, a 2.5-game cushion on the Seattle Mariners. The series finale is tonight. You have Reese Olson versus Tyler Alexander, who has a 5.35 ERA this season. Evan Woodbury will end the show on this of M Live, put a great post out there breaking down all of the scenarios that can lead to the Tigers clinching a postseason berth here. The Tigers' magic number is 3. Their earliest clinch date is Friday. If the Tigers go 4-0, obviously they're in. If they go 3-1, they are in no matter what happens to everybody else. If they go 2-2 in the last 4 games, the Twins only can get in if they go undefeated the rest of the way, go 4-0 and win out. The Tigers go 1-3, the Twins have to go 3-1. If the Tigers go 0-4, the Twins have to go 2-2, and the Mariners have to go 3-0. Again, that's Evan Woodbury of M Live. Just want to make sure that is clear. Doing great reporting. As always, we have such great beat writers here across the board. Woodbury, obviously one of the best as well. So here we are. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We will, of course, be back tomorrow recapping the series finale against the Rays. If you sweep the Rays and go into 3 games against the worst team ever, just needing, a win or 2 wins, depending on what happens in Minnesota, get your tickets now, baby. Some of those games are already selling out. We're so back. After 8 grueling years, we're so back. We haven't clinched yet. I'm not getting ahead of myself. We still have work to do. Go win tomorrow. Go win today, rather. Go win on Thursday. Let's make it fun. I love y'all, man. I'm so blessed beyond belief to be able to be in a position where, again, more than anything, just I get to share this moment with thousands of people that care about the Tigers as much as I do. Right. I don't care if you think I suck at my job. I don't care if you think I'm okay at my job. Just the fact that you are passionate enough to want to hear about the Tigers every single day, like I have been my entire life. This run is this means something to that group of people, and I'm just so thankful and so blessed that I get to share this moment with, again, thousands of people that care about the team as much as I do. I really do. No matter what happens, this has been an awesome September. Let's make sure it turns into October. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. Job not finished, baby. All right? Don't get sappy on me yet. Job not finished. Go Tigers.